John Lennon was once quoted as saying, "Nothing happened in the 60s except that we all dressed up." Hello once again, I'm Don Jackson with the heartbeat of the Internet. The Los Angeles Times Syndicate printed this. Why do so many teenagers who complain there's nothing to do during summer vacation have to stay out so late at night to get it done? On the other hand, in a piece called Beliefs, was this. I believe that my best friend and I can do anything or nothing and have the best time. I've decided that this webcast will feature a whole lot of nothing. People tend to look at the word nothing and belittle its importance. Nothing is, well, nothing. But the fact is that it can mean life or death, success or failure, joy or sadness. Mountain climbers have died when they stepped on it. Parachutists are upset when they pull the ripcord and nothing happens. Farmers have lost their farms when they grew it. Hockey players and coaches have lost their jobs when they scored it. It expresses joy when it represents the sum total of your debts. It is what you earn when you do it. I've saved it over the years, and now I have it in my bank account. It is what you generally learn from a politician making a speech, and how true that is. It is often discussed at meetings and in arguments, and fights start over it. I often find it in my mailbox, and only last night I got it from a soft drink dispenser. I could go on, but it will mean nothing. I just need some time to think about it. You don't need to thank me, though. It's nothing. James A. Michener in Chesapeake, published by Random House, wrote, and I quote, "The ultimate source of the Susquehanna River was a meadow in which nothing happened. No cattle, no mysteriously gushing water, merely the slow accumulation of moisture from many unseen and unimportant sources. The gathering of dew, so to speak. The beginning, the unspectacular congregation of nothingness. The origin of purpose. And where the moisture stood, sharp rays of sunlight reflected back until the whole area seemed golden and hallowed, as if life itself were beginning here. This is how everything begins. Oceans, mountains, life itself, a slow accumulation, the gathering together of meaning." Another writer begged to differ with Michener's last few lines. He said, "Nothing ever begins. There is no moment, no single word or place from which this or any other story springs. The threads can always be traced back to some earlier tale and to the tales that preceded that." Few of the words woven by horror writer Clive Barker. Some lines later he writes, "Nothing is fixed. In and out the shuttle goes, fact and fiction, mind and matter, woven into patterns that may only have this in common, that hidden amongst them is a filigree which will, with time, become a world." End quote. A few of the opening lines to his novel of horror and fantasy, Weave World, published in 1987 by HarperCollins. Harriet Dewar, interviewed by Steve Prophet in the Los Angeles Times, wrote, "During your life, everything you do and everyone you meet rubs off in some way. Some bit of everything you experience stays with everyone you've ever known. and nothing is lost. That's what's eternal. These little specks of experience in a great, enormous river that has no end. When I begin to put together one of these webcasts, there is always a blank page on the computer monitor. And from nothing comes a webcast just like this one. Judith Viorst from Redbook magazine, with part of the reason for the original name of my former radio show, and I quote, "Even in a marriage that is fundamentally fine, we may have to live with a certain amount of loneliness. No two people match perfectly, and parts of ourselves may never be understood by the person we had hoped would be our soulmate." She goes on to write, "There's nothing my husband can do that will ever get me to share his mania for professional football. There's nothing I can do that will make him love the poems of Yeats. The fates of husbands and wives may be linked until death do them part, and yet there will be moments, important moments, in marriage when one may turn to the other in desperate search of a reassuring, 'I know what you mean,' and draw a look of incomprehension instead. People only partly connect, even with their nearest and their dearest." End quote. A far simpler explanation, perhaps? The Hindu poet Rabindranath Tagore wrote, "Love is an endless mystery, for it has nothing else to explain it." This is called Eyes for Invisibles by Helen Keller. I have walked with people whose eyes are full of light, but who see nothing in sea or sky, nothing in city streets, nothing in books. It were far better to sail forever in the night of blindness, with sense and feeling and mind, than to be content with the mere act of seeing. The only lightless dark is the night of darkness in ignorance and insensibility. And related to that is a voyage of discovery, and this is from the living age. The first intelligent expression of the infant is wonder. This quickly develops into active curiosity until life becomes an enthralling and breathless voyage of discovery. Its possession is the great distinction between youth and age. Youth is past when the sensation of adventure is ended, when instead of boundless expectation and of curiosity that penetrates into all corners of existence, a man is content to take things as they are, when eagerness gives way to complacency and questioning to the cynicism of experience. The man devoid of curiosity is the man who, in the end, attains to nothing. Freeman J. Dyson in Infinite in All Directions, published by HarperCollins, wrote, "The world of biology is full of miracles, but nothing I have seen is as miraculous as the metamorphosis of the monarch caterpillar. Its brain is a speck of neural tissue, yet with this microscopic clump of nerve cells, it knows how to manage new legs and wings, to walk, to fly, to find its way to Mexico. How are behavior patterns programmed into the genes of the caterpillar and then translated into the neural pathways of the butterfly? These are mysteries that biologists are far from understanding. The monarch is proof that nature's imagination is richer than our own." Antoni Flores, in a speech, echoed that observation by saying, "The world is full of wonders, riches, powers, puzzles. What it holds can make us horrified, amazed, sorrowful, confused, joyful, but nothing in it can make us bored. Boredom is the result of some pinch in ourselves, not of some lack in the world." In God's great economy, nothing goes to waste. It's a powerful line from the story about the cracked pot. I promised at the beginning of this webcast a whole lot of nothing. And so far we've learned that nothing is really everything. So, is there any weight to nothing? Would you say perhaps nothing more than nothing? This is a tale for all seasons by Kurt Kauter, even though at its heart is a snowflake in winter. He writes, "Tell me the weight of a snowflake," a coal mouse asked a wild dove. "Nothing more than nothing," was the answer. "In that case, I must tell you a marvelous story," the coal mouse said. "I sat on the branch of a fir close to its trunk when it began to snow. Not heavily, not in a raging blizzard, no, just like a dream, without a sound and without any violence. Since I did not have anything better to do, I counted the snowflakes settling on the twigs and needles of my branch. Their number was exactly 3,741,952. When the 3,741,953rd dropped onto the branch, nothing more than nothing, as you say, the branch broke off. Having said that, the coal mouse flew away." End quote. Well, that's one way of measuring nothing. In the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel The Road by Cormac McCarthy, was nothingness laid bare. There is no way to measure the emptiness of the world that two main characters are journeying through. And I quote, "The blackness he woke to on those nights was sightless and impenetrable. A blackness to hurt your ears with listening. Often he had to get up. No sound but the wind in the bare and blackened trees. He took great marching steps into the nothingness, counting them against his return, eyes closed, arms oaring. Like the great pendulum in its rotunda, scribing through the long day, movements of the universe, of which you may say it knows nothing, and yet know it must." Suzanne Siegel-Zenkel, in the book Your Secret Angel, said, "Your guardian angel asks for nothing in return. Her only reward is your happiness." And this wonderful story. An angel was sent down from heaven one day to visit a child who had nothing to say. Now, this young child was poor. Great wealth she did lack, but she was always happy in spite of the fact. Until one day it happened her best friend went away, and it left her heartbroken with nothing to say. Now, the task of the angel was a great one indeed, to give hope to a heart that was so much in need. And though great riches and power were at the angel's command, he sent a lost puppy, and the healing began. The girl cheered the puppy as he chased down a stick. She started to giggle as her face he would lick. Then, without warning, the girl whose heart broke found some reason for saying these words that she spoke. "I love you, little puppy. I hope you will stay. We will always be friends, and together we'll play." Now the little girl was happy, though she still remained poor, for she had a new friend, someone to care for. You see, riches and power are fine things indeed, but for a broken heart, that is not what you need. The angel was wise, for he knew in the end how to mend a broken heart with the touch of a friend. Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.